words that I can write in this song, above any riches I could ever add up. She's the rock who holds it all together. She's enough. She's the wisdom and the honor. She deserves it so much. Her beauty is from the maker. Ooh, and she takes no credit. She says, trust the Lord with all your heart. You're not too far. That is why your mama. That's who you are to me. Mama, you make my life complete. She knows from experience Christ has been the only one who could bring us out of anything. And she gives him all the glory for it. And she's down for whatever, thick and thin forever. Her love is from the Father. His will is why she prays for me.
Mom.
Motivator.
Mentor.
All roles come with a heart and love for people.
A mother's work is never done.
A motivator never runs out of words.
A mentor's advice will never run dry.
Sometimes it's hard work.
Sometimes it's thankless, sometimes it's overwhelming.
But sometimes it's amazing.
Sometimes it's triumphant.
Sometimes it's rewarding.
And all the time is worth it.
So hang in there, sis. Walk in faith, girlfriend.
And keep doing good on your way to good.
We've got your back.
We're in this together.
Pause. We know that you wouldn't trade
Being a mom,
A mentor.
Or a motivator.
For anything.
Happy Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, everyone. We're so excited. I have two guests with me today, and we're going to talk about Mother's Day. But this is an exciting time because we all know that God loves mothers. As a matter of fact, He loves mothers to the point that He put scriptures in the Bible about how we need to honor. It says parents, but of course, we're talking about Mother's Day. So in particular, we're talking about how God tells us that we need to honor our mothers. So today, I'm so excited to have, I call her Miss Annie. I've called her Miss Annie for a long, long time, not because she's older than I am. We're actually very close in age. I think, is it quite a year? Is it a year?
No, just months.
Just months. Oh, you sure it's not a year? Well, okay, just months. She's just a tad bit older than me for a few months during the year. And we have, her name is Deborah McCrae, but I've called her DJ, so for so many years, it's hard to not do that. But occasionally, in respect for her husband, who calls her Deborah, I will call her Deborah sometimes. So welcome, ladies, and thank you so much for being with us today. This is an awesome time of celebration.
Yes.
And of course, you know, I like to do things purposely. So I invited them for a particular reason. One reason I invited Miss Annie is she has the same number of children that I have.
Yep.
And Miss Annie, I may have to tell you the backstory behind Miss Annie. A lot of you all just call her Annie, and it's okay, but her official name at Revealing Truth Ministries is Miss Annie. But and that's because of the respect that we really have for her. And so my husband actually started calling her that years ago. But Miss Annie has 4 children.
4.
And opposite of me, I have 3 boys and 1 daughter, and she has 3 girls and 1 son.
Right.
And we were discussing before we got started. I said, Miss Annie, how many years have you been a mother? So tell them, how many years have you been a mother?
I've been a mother for 46 years, coming up to 47 in September.
47. See, she doesn't even look that age, does she? She don't look like she could have a 46-year-old going to be 47, but she does. See, Miss Annie know how to keep it right.
That's right.
And of course, Miss DJ is here with us. She has one son, but I wanted us to talk about having children. And Miss DJ is here for a particular reason, because I know there's a lot of ladies that are desiring to have children. And they've been waiting for a number of years to have children. And I wanted her to discuss her path of her son, of her having a child, and how that came about. So, Miss DJ, I'm just gonna open it up to you. You can tell us how old your son is, his name, and so yes, ma'am.
Well, we have a little boy. His name is Evan Demetrius, named after his dad's middle name. He's 8 years old, and the journey was like a roller coaster. Adoption is.
So you're letting everyone know that you have a son, but you adopted a son versus having a natural childbirth.
Right.
Well, let me just interject. Was that something you desired to do, was to have babies yourself?
No.
No.
From my youth, I would always say it looks like it was too painful.
Oh, wow.
So I said I would just rather adopt, and not knowing that God would give me what I said. So, but even before Adrian and I got married and we were going through counseling, you know, we talked about children. And one of the things that we said was we would have a child, but we always wanted to adopt as well.
Okay.
So adoption was always on the table. Just didn't know that it was going to be the option that God chose to do our family through.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. And again, I want you to discuss a little bit more about the adoption and the fact that sometimes people don't consider that because they want to have a natural childbirth.
Right.
So tell us a bit about how the dynamics work. And when I say that, sometimes I think people think if I don't have my own child, I can't love that child. Talk to us about that.
Okay. And it's true, you know, I remember a number of times when Pastor Poe would call up for people who could not have children, and he would pray. And I don't care where I was in the church, I would run to that line. But it just was not the route that God had for me, and I had to come to grips with that. And it was physically because I had a cyst on my ovary. And so it automatically just kind of erased that option of going through natural childbirth. And, you know, as far as adoption, you know, people ask, you know, how can you love someone's child that's not your own? But it's easy. It's not like adoption doesn't come with directions, just like natural childbirth doesn't come with directions.
It's true.
And, you know, we prayed and we asked God to give us a child that would fit our family, that would have the values that the McCraes have, that this child, we wanted to be an encourager. So those same things that I would have prayed for as a pregnant mom, I prayed for, believing God that when he did give us a child, that this child would have those same features. I think that it doesn't take someone special. I just think it's a way that God extends his love for orphans. And we forget about them. We hear how many that's in the system. And in the state of Florida, there's over 20,000 kids in the system.
Wow.
And it's not their choice to be there. You know, some are there because of abuse, some are there because of death. You know, some are there because their parents just didn't want them. And so the love of God, the love that God has put in anybody's heart, you share that love every day. And we chose to share it with a child that just did not come through our loins. You know, I think it's special. You know, it's going to be interesting to share this process even with Evan as he grows up. We decided that we were going to tell him when God tells us to. But I think it's important because he needs to know how good God is. We talk to him about God, we pray together, but this will give him well, to me, it was solidified to him that God was looking out for me the whole time. So if there's ladies that desire to have children and they find that it's difficult, consider adoption. There are ladies who have adopted and then gotten pregnant.
Yes. Yes.
So
yes.
It's not the end of the road. It's just an option. And there's plenty of kids out there looking for love.
And that's very, very true. It crossed my mind at one time, but having 4 running the ministry, I didn't think I should throw that out to Greg at the moment. Let me put it that way. And so Miss Annie, you have the 4 children, and of course, your children are very, very talented.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They are very, very talented. I can recall, and of course, some of you may not know, but you listen to a Very Gamage's music. This is her mom.
Yes.
This is Miss Annie. This is a Very's mom. And of course, Denise and Lawana's mom as well.
Yes.
And Larry D.
Yes.
This is their mom. But tell us about the singing part of your family. How did that come about?
It goes way back.
It goes way back, right? Because my whole family sings.
Oh, okay.
Not including me, but anyway, their dad sings, a great singer. His family's, they sing, play instruments. My mom, her sisters.
Oh, wow.
Their dad, all of them sing. Got beautiful voices. Wow. So I'm quite sure it just came down the line to them.
Oh, okay. So you weren't a singer. So what did you do, Miss Annie?
Well, I can play drums. Not like Sean Callahan. But
but you play drums.
I play drum, and my brother. I have a brother that plays drum.
Okay.
And a couple of nephews that plays drum. So.
Oh, okay.
And being in the church that we grew up in, just about everybody either played drums, played the tambourine, or played the piano. So.
You picked the drums, huh?
I picked the drums and the tambourine.
Oh, yes. Miss Annie definitely can play the tambourine.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's so awesome because I think when I met you, I believe maybe a Very was 7?
About 7.
7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's about 7 years old. Yeah, I remember. And we would hear Lawana sing, and then I remember you said to me, "Oh, you need to hear Denise."
Yeah.
And so I thought, wow, I really do need to hear Denise.
Yeah.
Because if any of you have ever seen any of our worship service, you all know Miss Lawana she brings it home. And then, of course, I love a Very's voice. To me, it's unique, it's different, it's angelic, it's soft, it's bold, it's awesome. But Denise had the purest soprano I have ever heard. I'm telling you guys, when this girl sings and she's singing soprano, she hit those high notes, there's no cracking in her voice.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, Miss Annie, I watched you play the drums too for a moment.
A little bit.
A little bit. She pulled back a little bit.
Yeah.
But well, tell me about your home life. I mean, they just go around singing? How did all this? I mean, what happened?
We always played music in our house.
Okay.
Never always sung. The father left. He always sang, and from there I guess they just picked it up from him.
So was it a lot of? You mean it was just everybody just running around the house singing?
Yeah, and Denise Lawana and Very, she tries to out-sing the when we have on the records, the vinyl. She always tried to out-sing. Her voice had to be over what's being played. The louder it gets, the louder she gets. So I guess that's how she developed her lungs.
Well, I guess she was trying to be heard.
Yeah, since she was the smallest one, yeah.
Oh, so she was small, so she was just trying to be heard.
Yeah, well, but they always just sing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Since there was a little one.
So, being that we are mature ladies that we are, Miss Annie, We now have grandchildren.
Yes, we do.
How many grandchildren do you have?
I have 7.
You have 7 grandchildren.
Yep.
Yes, yes, you do. 7 grandchildren. So we're going to talk about a little bit about the difference in our raising children and our children raising children. We kind of. So what differences have you noticed between your raising children and your children raising children? And understand, we're not saying that they're doing it wrong. It's just different.
It's different. We believed in spanking our kids more than just having a timeout or keep saying things over and over. So we were quick to kind of give a spanking or, something like that. But these days, they still do a little spanking, but not as much as we gave to them. So, but they turned out good, though, I think. I know they turned out good.
You say they turned out good with the spankings, didn't they? They did that, right.
Yeah. But spanking ain't bad. It just how you do it, and you don't want to hurt the babies.
Right.
Abuse them, I would say.
Right.
Spanking, and some, and then you got some that you only have to talk to. Give them a little firm talking to, and that'll be it. But some just have to be spanked.
They just have to be spanked, right?
Be spanked, yeah.
and that's I agree with that, which just means that you have to study your children.
Right.
You have to study your children to see what kind of temperament they have and what works for one may not necessarily work for the other. So, and I'm sure everyone who has children realizes that now, that it's not cookie cutter.
Right.
And that you have to look at them differently. But sometimes that causes a problem when you have multiple children, because they want everybody else on the same level, right? It's like, well, if I got a spanking for it, then you ought to get a spanking for it. It can kind of get a little interesting when you have multiple children, don't you think?
Kind of, sort of, yeah. But I get that more now. My children would tell me that they weren't what I let the grands get away with. They weren't able to get away with, which is true.
We are not supposed to admit that. We're not supposed to admit that.
but it is, because we raise our children the best way that we know how, and, from what you were taught. Your grandchildren, you raise them a little. You treat them a little bit different. You learn from how you treat your children, and you do it a little bit. You don't be as strict with your grands like you do, like you were with your own kids.
Right. And we both know, and for those of you who don't have grandchildren yet, you have to understand I don't even know how to even describe the love that you have for your grandchildren. We want them to do what's right, and we want them to, be mannerable. But I'm telling you, there is something so different when you have a grandchild that it's indescribable.
Yeah.
The love that you have for them, it's a different type of love. I don't know if maybe it's different because we know we ain't gotta raise them. I don't know.
That could be.
I don't. Or you know what? Perhaps it's more of a freedom to love. Because when you're raising your own children, there's a lot of responsibility that goes along with it. And so you just want them to get right. I want to be able to tell you this so you stop.
Right.
So I can get on with something else I'm doing. Whereas grandparents, it's a little bit more leisure in it, but it's just something really awesome about having grandchildren. And I thought maybe it would be just the first one, but it just repeats itself.
Yeah.
It just keeps repeating itself over and over and over again. It's funny, I was talking to one of my neighbors the other day, and she said, I only have 2 grandchildren. She said, but I guess one of them I'm 1 or 2, somewhere along that age, in this thing called Paw Patrol. And of course, keeping up with what little kids like now is just mind-boggling to me. I have no idea. For Christmas, I'm like, hey, parents, go buy me something for your child because I don't know what they're in. But she said, and every time I see something Paw Patrol, I buy it. The parents are just, what is wrong with you? She said, I buy the socks, I buy the shoes, I buy the toys, I buy the hats, I buy the shirts, anything Paw Patrol, I buy the books, and I got so tickled because that's just the way it is. And it's with all of them, not just some. Now, Ms. DJ, you haven't gotten to that place yet. Ooh. However, you actually ran a daycare with a lot of children at a lot of ages.
Yes.
And I'm sure you know, I used to call you for a little advice about my grandchildren. Why are they doing this? And you would be so gracious to me. And you tell, oh, well, this is what's going on. And perhaps you should do this. And sometimes telling somebody something is different than having to do it yourself. So talk to us about Evan and his growing up. First of all, at what age did you get him?
He was 3 months old.
Oh, wow. Yes. Oh, wow. Infant, 3 months old. That's pretty cool.
Yes, he was 3 months old.
So you got to go through all of the fevers and I got to figure out what cry this means. And I got to figure out, toilet training. So you got to go through the whole
thing.
The whole thing.
And the cool thing about it was, one of the things that I asked God for was a baby. Oh, okay. And we was always told that our culture would foster, but not adopt. So when there was an infant, they would always go to a family member or they would go straight into foster care. Okay. But we got favor. And with Evan, I was actually able to do what they call Kangaroo Care. So went to the hospital, and I remember that, and I wore one of Adrian's shirts, had the strip under, and they placed him inside the shirt because he had never heard a heartbeat. Oh, so wow. The first heartbeat he heard was mine. And I had to teach him how to, lay on my chest. And All Children's awesome hospital, it was like a job. So I got there in the morning, they unhooked him, put him in the shirt, and I had to sit there for hours. They would come at 12, relieve me for lunch, told me to be back in an hour, not to be late, and they put him back because he was in the NICU, so it was very important for the consistency. Okay. And it took about 4 days for him to relax. He would never relax. And after that, to this day, as tall as he is, he still tries to put his head on my chest, So the connection was just like really cool. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. You know what that is? That is good. So it was more than just here's a baby.
Here's a baby.
But there has to be a connection, just like moms, because because of course when you would have children, they would I know now, they used to when I was having children, they just, you have the baby, they take the baby away, and then you got to see the baby later. Whereas now they're doing something totally different. Totally different. I think they call it skin to skin. I hope I got the right terminology. And the mother gets the baby immediately, which I think that's awesome. So you got an opportunity to connect in that way as well.
Right. So literally the only thing I didn't do was have him. Okay. Everything else I picked up right when I got him. Oh, wow. And that was really cool. Yes. So the process of growing up with them and already knowing the stages of development just from being in preschool it's been good. I've had to apply these things. Talking to myself, Adrian tells me that I get in director mode sometimes, especially when it comes to discipline, because I don't have I switch over to Miss Annie, getting better, but it's good to see the stages of development. A lot of things that I would share with moms that I've learned just from school and from, being around kids, I'm able to apply with him. And so it's been nice. I didn't actually have my mom to help me, but I did have Miss Evelyn, who was my cheerleader through this whole thing, and I had you.
And Miss Evelyn is your mother-in-law.
My mother-in-law, yes. So she's my biggest cheerleader. And it's been really good because, of course, she's raised 3, you know, and don't forget to do this, don't forget to do that. Did you do this, you know? So that's really cool, you know, to have the support.
Oh, well, that's really, really good.
Yeah.
Because, again, it's a little bit different when we were having our children. We stayed in the hospital longer.
We did.
And so now they just kind of...
It's like a day or 2.
You got to go.
Yeah.
You had the baby. We've done our job. You need to go ahead and leave.
Yeah.
So a lot of things are quite different. But I believe that the changes were made just for probably more connection. The fact that babies stay in the room, that shocked me.
Yeah.
I was like, when they're coming to get your baby, because you're gonna need this rest. You're gonna need this rest. And they were like, no, the baby stays here. I was just, I was amazed. I was really amazed. But again, with us having children, it is a journey. It's worth it all.
Oh yeah.
It takes a lot of prayer.
Yes.
You all agree.
Yes, yes.
Some, we always say a little bit more than others. And I always tell people, I don't call my children's names in public because I think whatever victories they have, that's their testimony. I can testify to my side of it, but as far as saying, oh, it was this one, it was this one, it was this one, depending on what the audience is, I don't share their names. But Miss Annie, I know you've probably gone through like I have. There's always a special one.
A special one?
A special one? Oh, yours was all easy.
Yeah, I would say, well, to me, I didn't have a whole lot of challenges with mine.
Oh, okay. Tell us how you
only
did
only
this.
one. Well, not a whole lot of challenges, but
yeah, I'm just saying that it's
since I only got one son, he I think he got in more things than the girls did.
Okay,
Because
okay,
he's
okay.
when he's in school, he's very talkative. His mouth always got him in trouble.
Whenever I've ever seen him, he's always been quiet.
But in class, I guess he get distracted. And he just started talking to his classmates. And then he's the one who get caught talking. So, but other than that, I didn't have no real big challenges with them.
Oh, I know a lot of y'all probably want a seat at Miss Annie's table. You want to get with her. But you know what's interesting? My children loved going to Miss Annie's house.
Yes.
When they were in high school, they actually, I almost felt like I needed to pack a bag and send them to your house. Because I did ask her once, I said, what are you doing at your house? That it wasn't just my children, it was teenagers in the church like to go to your house.
Yeah.
And I thought, I know Miss Annie. Miss Annie don't pull any punches. I know she ain't let y'all just over there just do whatever you want to do.
They didn't do whatever they wanted to do. They came in, most of, and then the thing is, I didn't let everybody come to my house. Before they come to my house, I have to know who they are.
Listen, parents, listen. Go ahead, Miss Annie, who they are.
And I asked them different questions about, different little things. And if I didn't feel comfortable with them being there, I would let my kids know they can't come there no more. I don't feel comfortable with them being there. But even not only with the teenagers, but with grown-ups too.
Okay.
Because it used to be a time when before you get real close to our family, we would ask you questions. You would go to a probationary period.
Oh.
You don't remember that?
I've been on probation.
Oh, you've been on probation with Miss Annie?
Right, before they could actually start coming to my house on a regular basis.
Okay.
And if if my children didn't feel comfortable with you there and I didn't feel comfortable with you there, you couldn't come there no more. Not as often.
How long was the probation period, Miss Annie?
About 30 days.
I don't remember how long it was.
About 30 days.
So
I would say about 30 days.
So Miss DJ, I mean, How were you when you met Miss Sandy? Did she put you on probation?
How was I? Or how old was I?
How old was I when you got on probation?
Let's see. I got to the church when I was 26, so it must have been when I was 27, but I was off by 28.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because when I came to the church, she was doing the tape ministry, we called it back then, and I was in the children's ministry.
Okay.
So we kind of got to know each other that way because the kids coming into the children's ministry.
Right.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
But so.
But she was very protective.
Yes.
You know, very protective of the kids and who came around them. I could appreciate it, you know, and I understood.
Okay.
But it was cool.
But those are things that as parents, as mothers, since we're talking about Mother's Day, those are things that you have to be conscious of. Am I correct?
Yeah.
And what about your children spending the night at other people's homes?
We didn't do that.
You,
We didn't.
no spending the night. Wow. Okay, all right.
No
But
spending
my
the night
kids,
at nobody's
my
house.
kids kept trying to stay at your house for sure.
Yeah, they did. Not only your kids, other kids too. It was just, my house was like a hangout for them, I guess, because when my kids were teenagers there, so I think all the teenagers, it was mostly back on 56th Street, they just hung out together. You know, they played games, basketball, whatever, but they they come there, sit down and watch movies. I would cook for them, play games, different things. I just let them be them, respectfully though.
Okay.
So if I see you coming in with your clothes all kind of way, I'm gonna say something about it. Pull your pants up. If you can't keep your pants up, don't come back here.
Oh, wow.
So they respected it as they kept coming back, so.
Yeah.
Yes, which again, I think we can pull something else out of that. Children like to have some type of stability. They like to have, I know a lot of times parents think if I slack up on the rules, if I slack up on my expectations, then they'll love me more, or not necessarily love me more, but I can hold on to them and we'll have a good relationship, not realizing that children need stability. They need stability. They need to have some rules. And I didn't know how strict your rules were. I just knew that all mine kept wanting to come and be at your house and having conversation with you. I knew you didn't allow a lot of things, but I heard there was a lot of movie watching. What is it? What is the movie? What is the movie? Is it The Temptations?
Temptation.
The Temptations.
Yes.
I believe
Temptations.
everyone that went to your house, they could play all the parts, sing all the songs, knew the whole thing.
Yeah.
Miss Annie, you still got a
The
verse?
Temptation in 5 Heartbeats.
The Temptation in what?
The 5 Heartbeats.
The 5 Heartbeats. Y'all watch that over?
Over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
Your choice, their choice.
Their choice. Even though we watched other movies, they will always end up going back to that one before the night is over.
Before the night is over, we got to watch The Temptations.
One of them, yeah.
That is funny.
Yeah, they did.
But again, I think that speaks well to your parenting abilities and the fact that you did care about who your children were around, and you did monitor who they were, and you weren't afraid to say, this person can't come. And you weren't afraid to say, I don't think you should, and give your opinion about the person that you were speaking of. I did pick up on that too, Miss Annie, and I started doing it myself. Because again, children are precious. And as a result of that, I know you have a wonderful relationship with your children. You have a very good relationship, and they're very protective of you, just like you were protective of them. They're very protective of you, and that's really special. I believe it's in the book of Psalms where it says that the children they grow up and they call their mom blessed, and every mom wants to hear that. Every mom wants to know that. So it's not just a matter of having children that cause you to be a mother. It's a connection that you have. It's a, for lack of other word, it's a mothering that you have. It's a protective feature that's all a part of it. It's a loving feature, but it's also a place where you discipline your children because I love you, not because I think you're going to embarrass me.
Right.
Because sometimes we can get a little bit of that when our children become teenagers. We can get a little bit of, don't do this because I don't want people to think I didn't raise you right. But as you all know, children do have a mind of their own.
Oh, yeah.
And they do sometimes not do the things that you think they ought to do. And you have to decide at that time, what am I going to do, with my child? And because that is an expression of love. That is an expression of love when you discipline your children. And I tell my children now who are raising children, when they say, man, how many times I gotta tell them this? I said, as often as is necessary because you're training and training means repetition.
Yeah.
When you get a trainer, when you want to be physically fit, what do?
Yes.
You get a trainer and he's consistently watching you do the same thing over and over again and making adjustments. And no matter how many times you've done it, they sometimes they just see a little, no, and they make the correction. So training, I think if parents would just understand that I'm training my child, the Bible says, in the way they should go.
Right.
So therefore, it requires repetition so that you don't get tired of saying the same thing over and over and over again. I mean, as Miss Sandy says, sometimes a little punishment, sometimes, just a firm talking to concerning it. But you always have those that are just curious. Let me just see for myself. Then when I see for myself, oh my God. I have a grandchild that's really adventuresome. And I think it is so funny because they came to the house and I have an area that's for them, although my grandchildren, they get to go in my closet. They get to play dress up. They get to put on my jewelry. They put on, and Alexandria is actually the oldest one. But the rest of them are like 2, 3, 4. But they like to play dress up. And their parents are like, don't be messing up grandma's closet. I'm like, it's my closet. I let them in. Let them dress up. And we got all these pictures of with them. They come in. They got to have earrings on. They got to do all the play stuff. But nonetheless, they are adventuresome because they're mine are young.
Yeah.
So one of them climbed up on it's actually a coffee table, but it looks like a big barrel. And so one of them beats it because they like, this is a bass drum. And the parents are just screaming, stop that. I'm like, noise is a part of family.
Yeah.
Okay. But this particular grandchild climbed up on top of it. Her mother saw her, and see now it's a her, but I got, 5 hers? There you go, got 5 hers. Get down. So instead of trying to step down, climb down, she tries to jump down, but her foot got caught and fell on her face. And of course, I love watching my children raise their children because they're all different. It is so funny. I'm telling you, it is. I think we could do a sitcom.
Yeah.
But she's running, and so she's hit her face, and so her nose is kind of bruised, and the father's like, okay, so we shouldn't be jumping, and you see how dangerous you got hurt, and she looks at him, she goes, no, Daddy, I want to jump out of the sky.
Oh, wow.
I said, I want to jump out of the sky. That was nothing.
Oh, wow.
I really want to go way up high and jump down. So I thought that was so funny. So it's kind of interesting, again, watching our children raise children, but it's also a joy, too.
Yep.
When you have the proper perspective on raising children. It's a joy that comes with it. It's a joy of watching their accomplishments.
Yeah.
You see yourself in them sometimes. Do you sometimes see yourself in your children, Miss Annie? Sometimes.
Yeah. A lot of people tell me that too. They can see me in my kids and stuff.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, I wouldn't do that. sometimes, it's like, I'm doing it like you did it. No, that ain't the way I did it. So that is not what I did. You got that mixed up. That is not what I did. Yeah. Well, ladies, I am just so happy that you came to join us today, and we had some fun talking about our children. I do pray that you all will take the opportunity as well to just, on Mother's Day, just remember, go over stories and accounts that you have that are funny things that you remember. Sometimes it gives you an opportunity to correct some things. Mm-hmm, it's like, no, that really didn't happen. It was the wrong perspective. Your children saw it one way, and we saw it totally different. Yeah. And so it becomes a really fun day for everybody. It does. Well, ladies, again, I'm so glad that you came, but I have something special for you as well for joining us today. All right. And so I'm going to ask them if they'll please bring up some special gifts that I have for you. All right. I appreciate you. I appreciate you all so much, and I appreciate you all allowing me to go through the process because, like I said, I believe that you're. I believe must have been 7, 8. I can't really remember. 7. Yeah. When I first met you, and then of course I met you before you got married. Mm-hmm. And then I was very excited about your adoption process, and it's really cool. So we have some things here for you. If you will please come. Oh, they don't know which way to go.
I do want to say that I got a big surprise yesterday.
Did
My
you?
son came home from California.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, he did. He in the grandkids.
Oh, my goodness. I know that was exciting for you. Oh, I know. All my kids are here, so I love them being here. So what we have here, we have some flowers for you guys.
Thank you, ma'am.
And we have a special gift for you.
Nice.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, guys, this is how you do it on Mother's Day. You come bearing gifts. You see that? You come bearing gifts. When you were little, you came bearing gifts for sure. I mean, I have some things that I wasn't sure what they were when my children brought them to me, but I love the fact that they were thinking about me. So think about your mom today. If you're not able to get to her, be sure and call her, FaceTime her, just connect in some kind of way, and I'm sure that you are. So again, thank you so much for joining us, and you have a wonderful, wonderful Mother's Day. Gosh, thank you for coming. Thank you for having us.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
That's who you are.